Welcome back to the FastAPI Backend Series. So far, our API has been alive. It connects, it validates, it responds, but it hasn't delivered value yet. Today, that changes. We're building our first real business endpoint, employee sales performance. This is no longer just infrastructure. This is data intelligence. So what are we building? In this episode, we'll create a PostgreSQL view to aggregate employee sales. Then we'll expose a real sales endpoint via FastAPI, and then we'll return the result. It should be structured JSON using SQLAlchemy sessions. Before we start coding, let's explain the architectural decision. In production systems, heavy logic belongs close to the data, not scattered in Python. Instead of querying tables directly, we'll use a database view to pre-compute our results. It centralizes logic, protects the API from schema changes, and allows safe aggregation. The database computes, the API exposes. Now let's take a look at the SQL code for our employee sales view. As you can see here, we're joining employees to orders and orders to order items. Then we're summing the revenue and we're grouping by employee. Each row now represents a meaningful business insight. Now, a quick note on where this data lives. This database isn't local. It's running in the cloud. If you follow my production-ready PostgreSQL build series, this is the Northwind-lite database we deployed. Now I've jumped over to my database cloud provider project dashboard. And as you can see, I've created a small database called Northwind-lite. And the provider is Neon using the free tier. So I can get to my view here. Here's my employee sales view. Let's take a look at the structure. So I have this view here, and that's where my data is coming from. So basically what you're seeing here is the data. You'll get employee ID, employee name, and the total sales here. So this endpoint isn't talking to a toy database. It's talking to a cloud-hosted, production-grade PostgreSQL instance. Again, you can refer to my PostgreSQL build series if you are interested. Now it's time to create the sales endpoint. So let's go to VS Code and open the main.py file from the app folder. And if you recall, from the previous episode, we added the health endpoint, and also we have the root endpoint here. We also have our imports here. We have depends, used for dependency injection. We have text, which we're using to help with our raw SQL. It's a wrapper. And then we have the session, which provides type hint for our DB. And then we have getDB, which we're using as our session provider. We're going to add our new endpoint right below the health one. So here's the code for our new endpoint. We're calling it sales, and we're defining it inside of a method called getEmployeeSales. So when a request arrives, FastAPI injects a fresh database session. The session talks to PostgreSQL. The view performs aggregation, and the results flow back as JSON. Fetch all retrieves the rows. Each row is converted into a dictionary, so FastAPI can serialize it as JSON. That's structured, production-ready output. And right here is where we're calling our view that we created, and we're putting the text wrapper around it because SQLAlchemy requires war SQL to be wrapped in text. This enforces explicitness and prevents unsafe execution. Explicit is safer than implicit. So the raw SQL is basically select star from the view name. And that's it. That's all to it. Now let's save the changes to this file and then test the new endpoint. To test the endpoint, we'll use our debugger. And then run it. And as you can see, it's running on this address here, a local address, localhost on port 8000. So if we go to our web browser, we can use this localhost to check out the new endpoint. So in our browser, we'll go to the docs or Swagger documentation. As you can see, we now have a new endpoint called sales. And if we go and try it out to test it, and then hit execute, we should be able to get a response. And I get an internal server error. So if we go back to Visual Studio Code, we can see that the error here is SQLAlchemy error. And it's basically saying that our view does not exist based on the line that we have here. Our view does not exist because the name of the view is in our database is VW_employee_sales and not VW_employee_sales_summary. So let's fix that here. Remove the summary at the end of the view name and then save our file. And also let's stop the debugger as well. Start fresh. And then run the debugger again. Okay, so it's running on our local host. And we'll go back to our browser and refresh. Then we'll start with the endpoint again, test it. We'll try it out, execute. And this time we get a response body with the data and in JSON format as expected. And that's it for this endpoint. If we come back here to Visual Studio Code, we can commit this change by going to the source control tab here and then type a message and then click commit and then sync the changes to push this to our GitHub account. And that should do it. In summary, the database performs aggregation, the view defines exposure, the endpoint defines access, and the API delivers insight. Right now, with this endpoint, we're returning raw dictionaries. In the next episode, we'll introduce pydantic response models because real APIs define contracts. In closing, we didn't just create an endpoint, we created a data contract between our API and the database. If you're following along, don't forget to push your changes, commit cleanly. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel.